the summer before 8th grade for me, and I found myself in a police station surrounded by my friends. We had all landed there because we were running wild on the campus of IIT in a forbidden area, and the police busted us. Well, how about this? I was the goody-goody, so I didn't want to go in the first place, but I was too scared to leave my friends, too scared to stay, and so the decision was made to stay. IIT is on 35th Street. I lived past 95th Street, and I didn't want to ride the L all by myself. So here I was, surrounded by these dummies who decided to run wild on the campus, and we all got caught. I was begging them, please, 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 let's just go home. Let's just stop. And as I'm saying the words, I hear footsteps behind us. It was 5-0 on our trail. As we sat in the police station, I'm pondering how my mother is going to kill me when she finds out. And then my friend jumps to his feet and says, nobody say anything. We all want a lawyer. He kept looking at me because he knew that I was the talkative one of the bunch, and he said, you better not say nothing. As I'm sitting there, we sat for over 2 hours. No one said their name, no one said their age, no one said where we lived, and guess what? The police let all of us go. That day I learned 3 very important lessons that I still carry with me now as a practicing attorney, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So my name is Preyar. I am a criminal defense attorney, and I have been for 22 years. So longer than all you graduates have even been alive, I've been practicing law. I went to Duke University for undergrad, and then I went to George Washington University Law School, and that means I was in school for a really, really, really long time, even before I became a criminal defense attorney. But in that time that I've been practicing, I started to see trends. I started to see the same patterns over and over and over again. And as I saw people come in my office who were as young as 6 and as old as 87, I started to realize that there were some things that we could do to stop them from ending up ever needing to need my services as a criminal defense attorney. In the course of that, I did something. I created a board game. Because I know that kids, especially 14, 15, 13-year-olds, get tired of parents talking at them. They get tired of adults barking at them. And sometimes they just want to play. So in my game, I teach the 7 rules of police encounters so that we can help all our babies get home safe. Does that sound good? Yeah. But what I'm going to teach you today is a crash course. So I developed a curriculum around the board game called Street Law Revolution. And my goal is to equip, empower, and educate teenagers on how to interact with police safely, how to make it home every single time, and how to stay out of the criminal justice system, be it juvenile or adult. So back to when I was about to go into 8th grade, there were 3 lessons that I learned that day that I carry with me every day in my practice. Number 1, shut up, lawyer up. Number 2, birds of a feather go to prison together. And number 3, one decision can change your entire life. So let's go backwards. One decision can change your entire life. So I think it's safe to say that everybody in this room, every adult, can point to one incident in their life where they made a big decision that if they had done things differently, their lives would look completely different. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Whether it was a bad decision or a good decision, because I don't believe in good or bad people, I believe in good or bad decisions. And what you're going to find is once you leave elementary school and you go to high school, is that you'll be making a lot of these decisions fast, on the fly, without your parents standing next to you. So it's really important to get good at making decisions that serve you. So some of the decisions that land people in my office is deciding to pop pills, deciding to smoke weed, deciding to play with guns. Those are the ones I see the most often. And these are challenges that you will be faced with in high school, and mommy won't be next to you when you're making these decisions. Granny won't be sitting behind you when the new kid at school asks you if you want to indulge in these activities. But the thing is, as you get older, not only do the decisions get harder, the consequences get a lot rougher. So the people that are coming in my office as 14-year-olds who broke the law have a very different fate when they come into my office for the same crime at 24. So you got to get very good at making really good decisions. So I'm going to give you this example. Two people who were in the exact same position, a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. They do not know each other. They were both walking down the street on different days. Police officer said to them, "Hey kid, come here. I want to pat you down," which by the way is completely illegal. The 15-year-old stopped, let the cops pat him down. Cops found a gun. The 17-year-old, same situation. Police say, "Hey kid, come here." He knew that they wanted to pat him down. He took off running. He ran behind garages. He ran behind garbage cans. He jumped over fences. And what happened was he also had a gun. That young man was shot in the back and is now paralyzed from the waist down. The first young man won his case. The second young man not only lost his case, but he has a lifetime of consequences to pay for that bad decision. You have to get good at making good decisions. The second thing, birds of a feather go to prison together. So again, back to my 8th grade year, or just before my 8th grade year, I'm hanging with other good kids who decided to do something really dumb, and we got busted. And that's what I find happens a lot of the time, is that people are with a group, they're too scared to stay, they're too scared to leave, they don't want to ask adults for help, so they end up in a bad situation, later saying, "I didn't want to be there in the first place, and how is it that this situation is this serious?" So I'll give you another example. There were 9 kids between 16 and 26. For anybody who's 26, yes, I call 26-year-olds kids because I'm a little bit older than y'all. 16 to 26-year-olds, they were all hanging out. They decided to go into a 7-Eleven, grab some stuff, run out without paying. They leave there, they go get on the CTA train. They decide it'll be funny if they rough up this older guy who's sitting on the train. They start messing with him, punch him, hit him, kick him. Everybody got a lick in. At the end, somebody grabbed his iPhone, and one girl, unbeknownst to everybody, the youngest one of the group, the 16-year-old, had a hammer, and she hit him a few times with the hammer. They all ran off the train. They all got busted because of social media, because she went and posted a video later showing everybody's face. And they all were charged with attempt murder and armed robbery. Well, why is that? If the person only took the phone and I only kicked him once and I only sat there and filmed with my phone, how is everybody charged with the same thing? Because the hardest thing for me to explain to people who come in my office is, even if you play a very small role in a really big crime, you get charged with the big crime just like everybody else. Those 8 people didn't know that girl had a hammer. Nobody planned this in advance. Nobody sat down and mapped it out. This wasn't Ocean 11 where they all dressed in black and shimmied down from the ceiling and had it mapped out for months. No, this was all spur of the moment. And as a result, everyone involved, their life was changed. Because birds of a feather go to prison together. The last one is shut up, lawyer up. And that was the very first lesson that I learned, but it really didn't sink in until I started practicing law. And I realized that my clients who were in the worst position were the ones who ran their mouths. Why? Because since we're 6 years old, we get in the position where we are used to talking our way out of bad situations. Grandma asked you, "Did you eat the last cookie?" "Well, no, I ain't eat the last cookie. Tommy ate the last cookie." Or, "Well, what had happened was, the reason I ate the last cookie is I was really hungry and wasn't no food in the house." Either way, we're used to talking ourselves out of a bad situation, not realizing we're creating a worse situation for ourselves. So the last example I will it was on the news about 2 months ago. There was a 15-year-old boy in Waukegan who admitted to shooting someone in the face. He admitted to an attempt murder, but get this, he didn't do it. How do we know he didn't do it? Because he was 20 miles away at the exact time of the shooting, playing basketball in a tournament with 50 witnesses. Well, you're like scratching your head. Why would you admit to something you didn't do? Well, the reason is because older police officers with lots of experience kept saying, we know you did it. We know you're the one. We know you're the one on camera. And finally, he's like, man, I get home faster if I just tell these fools that I did this. What he didn't know is that if he had admitted to it and hadn't been able to prove that he was elsewhere, he would have gone away for a very long time. So there is power in silence. There is even more power in asking for an attorney. And most people don't know attorneys are free at every police station in Cook County. If you ask and you dial a number, someone will come to your rescue, because that person also gets to be your witness. If you are mistreated, if you are hurt by police, if the police lie and say that you said something that you didn't say, guess what? That a lawyer gets to stand in and say, no, judge, that's not how it happened. How do I know? Because I was there. So the number is 1-800-LAW-REP-4. Everybody in this room needs to remember that number, because you never know if it'll be your child who's in that position, your spouse who's in that position, or your brother who needs help, and you gotta do it quickly. I'm gonna end with this. There's a phrase that I like. For every level, there's a new devil. For every level, there's a new devil. What does that mean? It means that 3rd grade math is a lot harder than 1st grade math. Is that correct? Can somebody agree with me on that? And 8th grade reading is a lot harder than 4th grade reading, right? So naturally, high school will be much harder than elementary school, but not in terms of grades and coursework. I think adults spend a whole lot of time beating kids in the head, talking about you better get an A instead of a C or a D, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is these life-changing decisions that happen in an instant are going to come faster and faster and faster the older you get, and you have to be prepared to make better decisions to place yourself in a better situation. So the question I'm going to tell you to ask anytime you're in a tricky situation, maybe you don't want to turn to your parents for help, maybe you're not really sure what to do, to ask yourself, is this decision getting me closer to the future that I want for myself, or is it pushing me further away? Every single time, is this decision helping me get closer to being that beautiful, brilliant person that I believe you are? Because in my estimation, your generation is the most brilliant generation on the planet. You can look at what you all do with TikTok and with apps and with protests to see how resilient and amazing you are, how beautifully creative you are. But in order to be all those things and to be anything that you want to be, we need you here. So we need you to be able to make good decisions to get through this summer, through the first year of high school, and beyond. And the only way you do that is starting to pause and not simply reacting every time something happens to you. So I'm going to end with this. There are 4 things that I say no matter where I'm going, no matter what the topic is, because I think everybody in the room needs to know. I have 4 R's of police encounters, because we know that there are some great police officers and there are some not so great police officers. There are some good police officers who make bad decisions, and there are some dirty dogs on every police force in America. And you need to be prepared no matter who you're facing. So these are the 4 rules. Don't run, don't reach, don't resist, don't run your mouth. So I'm going to need some crowd participation. I'm going to need you to repeat after me. Don't run, don't reach, don't resist, and don't run your mouth. If you remember nothing else I say, remember to shut up, lawyer up. Blessings to you, class.